大家好，欢迎大家收看安娜看法节目。今天来到我们商业论坛的嘉宾是 Mr. Robert Scott Hazard 的罗伯特·斯考特·哈德德律师。他今天要为大家介绍联邦级刑事案件和州级刑事案件之间的区别。罗伯特律师拥有多年从事刑事诉讼和民事诉讼的工作经验，他成功处理了许多的案件，也曾经担任一家保险公司的法律总顾问，负责处理所有公司相关的事务，包括诉讼和监管合规。罗伯特律师现在是安娜律师楼纽约办公室的主管律师。Hi, Robert.
Hi, Candice. How are you today?
Good, thank you very much. 今天想请问一下哈，联邦级刑事案件和州级刑事案件之间的区别到底是什么呢 ，Robert？
So today, Candice, I'm going to discuss about the differences between the handling of the federal and state level criminal cases by our law firm. Basically, the main differences amongst the two are at the early stages, the investigative stage, as well as at the end of the case, which is at the sentencing stage. Now, unlike state-level prosecutions, which usually occur based on an incident that occurs immediately, where local law enforcement either get called to the scene or somebody goes to the precinct and files a complaint, and then that ends up leading to the arrest. On the federal level, it's more of an in-depth investigation by very experienced and intelligent law enforcement that goes on for a very long period of time. So it's very important that if you are the subject of a federal criminal investigation, or you know that you will be the subject of a federal criminal investigation, that you retain a criminal attorney early in the early stages. The reason being is the attorney has the ability to set up meetings with the federal prosecutors, set up meetings with law enforcement if needed, and can potentially even resolve the case for the client without the case ever even being brought to court if it's based on a misunderstanding, if it's based on things that we have the ability to provide different evidence to the contrary of what law enforcement believe. And it's also very helpful later on because if we do work with law enforcement, in a way that, assists them, in the case, that can work to the client's advantage later on at the sentencing phase. Now, again, the other difference between the state level prosecutions and the federal prosecutions is the sentencing. The sentencing in the state level is basically a sentencing where the judge gets a range of sentencing under the statute, which we call indeterminate sentencing, meaning that the judge can sentence you to a range of 1 to 3 years or 5 years probation on a felony charge. And they do have a very, very high level of discretion. Okay. In the federal sentencing, although now the judges are allowed to deviate from what we call the federal sentencing guidelines, there is actual guidelines written, which is basically a chart. And based on what offense you're charged with, whether you've been charged with any offenses or convicted of any offenses before, and the facts and circumstances surrounding the actual case, that is before the federal judge, that judge determines how long you're going to go to jail based on that chart and whether or not he has the ability to deviate from that chart by your attorney being able to prove to the judge that there are other factors that would allow him to not apply exactly what's written in that chart. So it's very, very important especially at the federal level, but at both levels to get counsel. Like I said, the federal level, my suggestion is you get counsel immediately. Because if you do find out that you're under a federal investigation, it has already been going on for a long period of time. It's also very important, like I said, to have attorneys that are very experienced in this area, because the consequences of being convicted are most of the time a lot worse than being convicted at the state level, because the punishments are a lot harsher. So my suggestion is, whether or not you're the subject of a state or federal investigation, or whether or not you're a defendant in a state or federal criminal case, please contact us immediately, and our team of attorneys will be there to hold your hand every step of the way and get the best possible result for you. Thank you.
好，非常感谢罗伯特 Robert 律师和大家讨论联邦的刑事案件，他从调查阶段到判刑阶段的程序都跟大家介绍了，另外还跟大家讨论了州级和联邦级刑事案件之间的区别哈。好，今天再一次感谢罗伯特律师，感谢 Robert，Thank you very much， 也感谢大家的收看，我们下期再见。